Hey everybody, Jabman025 here. Today I'm taking a look at my 24th real grade, the RX-78-2 Gundam, version 2.0. This is the first 2.0 we've gotten of a real grade. I put a poll up on my channel, who wants to see the next build, and you guys chose this. Let's have a look. Now, first things first, this thing's hard. Very tiny pieces. Very tight fits. Very complicated inner frame. This thing's hard. It has to be cut cleanly perfect. There is not a bad nub on this kit except for one. And I'll show it to you later. And everything's got to be cut clean. Almost the whole thing is undergated, even in some of the inner frame parts. So, when I say it's a tight fit, it's a tight fit. Things have to go in exactly right. When you build this thing, you will need tweezers. Okay? Very tiny, very small pieces that have to line up exactly so. But, like I said, not a bad nub to be found. Even this tiny little thing has a core fighter. Tiny little landing gear. Even the cockpit opens. It folds up into core block mode. I mean, that's just... You didn't have to do this, but they did it, and I like it. Everything's colored correctly. The cockpit's like a light blue in the sheath, and just looks great. Fits in there perfectly fine. No issues. It's tight, but it fits. The cockpit opens. You can open the doors. There's tons of movement. I pop that off by accident, but you get the idea. It's in there. Tons of movement out of the shoulders. As tight as this thing is, it's a heck of a poser. Most RX-78-2s, regardless of scale or grade, are grade posers, and this is no different. Here's the skirt armor. The innards on the hips are nuts. Again, tiny pieces that have to line up just so. Not one bad nub on the whole thing. You can see it's variable hips. And lots of movement out of it. Any pose you can think of, this thing can pull it off. More poseability. The head. It's got a neck on it. And the neck can stretch up and look up. The waist can be moved. There's little pieces, like you see the break there. Where the cockpit is, that's for movement. This kind of reminds me of the PG Strike in it. Everything moves. Even the things you don't think can move, they move. Here's the innards of the leg. The leg goes together in a very unique way. You have the leg and you have the knee. The leg is already built and then you put the knee in there. It's kind of tricky to get in, but it's neat. I'll give it that. All put together. Kind of reminds me of the Verka version in the Master Grade line. But one thing I noticed, this thing is solid. I mean, just solid as a rock. It feels like an action figure more than a model kit. Whenever you build a model kit, there's always going to be some hollow parts. And there's going to be some parts where there's more air in there than, model. Not this thing. This thing is solid from toe to head. Absolutely solid as a rock. Tons of movement, incredible balance. Can do anything you want. Do you want proof? Of course you do. Yeah, I don't know when you're going to do that pose, but it can do it. So, if it can do that, it can do just about anything you want it to do. This thing kind of reminds me of a very tiny PG Unleashed. But since it's so tiny, all the parts are tiny too, and it's very difficult. But solid as a rock, not a bad nub to be found, and it looks great. It really is impressive. This is Bandai Flexin'. Look what we can do with plastic. Accessories. We've got the shield with a nice internal frame. It's all one big piece of that internal frame, but it looks nice. We've got the bazooka with some nice white missiles in there, so it kind of stands out. It's hard to see, but they're in there. And the beam rifle with the yellow scope. Goes together great. You also have different hands, trigger fingers, beam saber hands, bazooka hands, open hands, and of course 2 beam sabers, which are the right length this time. One of my nitpicks on the last time I did a real grade RX-78 was the beam saber was too long. Here he is next to his 1.0 counterpart. See, the 2.0 is a little thicker, a little beefier. He's got a smaller head. The colors are more, poppy. No burgundies, no navies, no bright blue, bright red. Yellow is basically the same. Is this an improvement on the 1.0? Absolutely. Is it like leaps and bounds better? Decal him up. Again, reminds me of the Verka in terms of decals. Unlike the original RX-78 real grade, they don't NASCAR this thing. The original RX-78 was just decal after decal, just friggin' everywhere. This thing, there's a lot of decals, but it's nowhere near as bad. They give you a bunch of extra decals if you really do want to NASCAR it up. And here's the only bad nub on this kit. Where that silver sticker is in the armpit, there was a really bad nub right there. But they gave you a sticker to cover it up in the armpit of all things. So I like that. Like, now there's one bad nub on this kit, so we'll cover it up with a sticker. Final thoughts on this kit. I'm giving this thing a huge thumbs up. Like I said, this is Bandai flexing, saying, hey, look what we can do with plastic. This doesn't feel like a model kit. This feels like an action figure that I built. If you built lots of model kits and you have action figures, you know the difference. You can just feel them. This thing feels like an action figure. Except I built this. There's just no hollow space. There's no empty space wasted. They filled this thing up. I will remind you, though, this thing's hard. Bust out the tweezers. Bust out the spectacles. This is going to be difficult. Can a newbie build this thing? Yeah, but I don't think they're going to have much fun. I don't think they're going to want to build more. I want you to have some experience before you tackle this thing. It's hard. But, like I said, Bandai's flexing. And every other model kit maker, every other plastic thing maker, saying, hey, look what we can do. Thumbs up. Pick it up. Good kit. Well, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you found it informative. If you have questions, ask them. I will answer them as best I can. Please stay tuned for more. I always got more reviews coming. There's a kit I know a lot of people have been waiting on coming up next. I will see you guys next time. Oh, and one more thing. I mentioned that the parts were small, but the decals are really small. I mean, really small. To the point that I had trouble reading them and picking them up with tweezers. And I had to get smaller tweezers. And I also had to buy these because I couldn't read the numbers and they're getting fuzzy. And I'm not old.